a second child with measles has died in Texas. There is an outbreak. I think it spilled over into New Mexico too. Infections over 500 people in Texas alone. And here's this thread responding to RFK Jr., who did tweet out this statement. I came to Gaines County, Texas today to comfort the Hildebrand family after the loss of their 8-year-old daughter, Daisy. So this isn't the full statement in the screenshot. I think the thread goes through it, but it does. At one point, he says, I encourage folks to get vaccinated, basically, against measles. And this doctor goes through what this case says. So said, let's start with what we know. Can we go to the top? Okay. Today we learned the sad news, another kid died from measles in Texas. We also learned what RFK Jr. will and will not say. So this thread breaks down what is said and what is unsaid in these statements here. Let's start with what we know. The death announced today was an 8-year-old girl. The hospital reports she died of measles pulmonary failure. They also report she was unvaccinated and had no other health conditions. Her death was the third measles death in the past few months, the second child. There have been more pediatric deaths from measles in the past 2 months than there have been in the previous 2 decades. This isn't just a coincidence. In 2000, measles was declared eliminated in the United States. There were sporadic importations and some localized flare-ups, but what we're seeing now is likely just the beginning of a bigger, more frequent, and more geographically diverse outbreaks here. If we could just pause at that graph for a second. Eric Topol put it together. Measles cases by year, and you can see the vaccine when that was introduced and how there we go. 65. Before 2025, last death from measles was in 2015, and that was the first one since 2003. And in 2025 so far, there have been 3 deaths, 2 children. Texas, the epicenter of the current outbreak, has reported nearly 500 cases. And that outbreak has seeded cases in numerous other states, including across the country. According to the Texas Department of Health, 98% of all cases and all deaths were in the unvaccinated. But you can see that there were 3 cases for someone who just was vaccinated with 1 dose and 7 vaccinated with 2 doses. But it makes it more likely.
Those kids were killed by unvaccinated kids.
Yeah. Well, it's the 2 deaths, I think, were kids that were unvaccinated, or they were at least
cases, right? They got
infected.
Sick. Right.
Infected got sick. Yeah. Many saw the New York Times story this morning about the second measles death. At the time, it hadn't been confirmed by HHS, CDC, or the Texas Department of Health. This Dr. Craig Spencer says that it reads as a way to buy time to control the narrative, although it is clear. So this part we don't necessarily need, but he basically goes through, and I think we're good here, the fact that the government was at this point not necessarily confirming that was the case. But can we go to RFK Jr.'s statement? I know I didn't have it ready, my bad. Because it is notable that he's encouraging people to get the vaccine. His full statement on his Twitter. Sorry about that. If we could just find it, yeah. It's encouraging that he's telling people to get vaccinated, but the problem is it's too late.
Yeah. Who that needs to see that message is going to be following.
Yeah.
Way too late.
Put in Secretary Kennedy. That's what I'm referring to. Yeah. Secretary Kennedy. Here we go. This is what there we go. This statement.
Not reading
here it is. The part at the end. The most effective way to prevent the spread of measles is the MMR vaccine. I've spoken to Governor Abbott, and I've offered HHS's continued support. Yeah. Sure. It's too late.
Lock him up. I'm sorry, we have been way too much grace has been extended to anti-vax people for the past half a decade. We should have taken more stringent hand in suppressing anti-vax stuff on social media, in my opinion.
Yep.
The America, I believe it was the Pentagon, maybe it was CIA, some other organization like that, spread anti-vax sentiment in China during the pandemic. China said, actually, we're going to nip that in the bud. We should have also done that here. It has been, and there should be way less tolerance towards this sort of thing. These people are anti-civilization, anti-society. There's nothing here there's no like, oh, actually people like Brett Weinstein need to go through the science on fucking YouTube. No, they can get into the lab and into the journals and publish stuff there.
But they can't.
The anxiety, that places like Facebook or places like YouTube need to be open for this sort of bullshit is a fucking joke. It should be censored. It should not be allowed on the goddamn platforms.
Yeah, they can't get published in journals. That's part of it. So then they have to go after the idea of peer review, and they undercut. It's an anti-intellectualist movement that's been an anti-science, anti-public health movement that's been enabled by our social media companies. Just scroll to the replies here, because this is why the cats are already out of the bag. These are, maybe not here, just keep going. His top fans were really pissed about this. Maybe this isn't exactly the fans that why would you write about this? Blah, blah, blah. All right, these are more sane people now. But there were all his fans were saying, how dare you? How dare you encourage people to get like now that he's laundered his reputation or he's cashed in, basically. He's HHS secretary now. Maybe he has to actually say this kind of thing, but it doesn't mean that the entire crop of anti-vax conspiracists that followed his lead aren't going to be there to influence these same people who are already primed to believe this kind of crap based on what RFK Jr. had been selling them. Snake oil. And people are going to die because of it.
And kids are dead. There's cold dead kids because of this shit.
Yep.
But let's act like it's a free speech issue. Kiss my ass.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.